With the safety and security of Israel in mind, one must ask the question, what is the best solution to finally resolve the current situation in Gaza? Today, we're diving into that and a whole lot more on today's show. Stay tuned, I'm Justin, and this is the Israel Guys. Welcome to the Israel Guys, where we believe that in a world of Jew hatred and anti-Israel propaganda, you should have a direct connection to the land and people of Israel. Guys, welcome back to the show. Good to be back with you again today. First off, if you hear any noise, it's probably the rain on the tin roof, which is really good for Israel. You know, in most places of the world, people think of rain as a negative thing. But here in Israel, it's a really good thing. It's God showering down his blessings on the people of Israel, providing rain for the land of Israel. Guys, before we jump into today's show topic, make sure you subscribe here on YouTube, or if you're watching on any of the other platforms. Also, like this video, hit the notification bell so you never miss any of the episodes of the Israel Guys that we're putting out every day, Monday through Friday. You can also follow us on our other social media platforms. We're on all the major ones. So, jumping into today's show topic, this has been a topic that has been talked about a lot recently with the ongoing war with Gaza. It's been talked about, by politicians, diplomats. It's been in a lot of newspaper headlines. The question of what will happen to the people of Gaza. So for today's show, the following is an article that was written by my good friend Samuel Warp and was published on the Israel Guys last week. Land for peace. A concept which might have seemed like the best option 30 years ago when the Oslo Accords were signed, and which was further acted upon some 12 years later with the disengagement from Gaza, quickly deteriorated when the population of Gaza voted a terrorist organization into power. Hamas subsequently tore up the greenhouses of Gush Katif to make room for rockets and terror infrastructure, and turned the beautiful Gaza Strip into a living hellhole. Since they pulled out of Gaza in 2005, Israel has only seen terrorism and radicalism on its southwestern border. The idea of Gaza being a sanctuary for the Palestinian people was quickly hijacked by Hamas, who turned Gaza into a hotbed for radical Islam and extremism. As it remains to this very day, the current conflict, which was brought on by the horrific actions of Hamas against Israeli civilians on October 7th, demands that we take another look at the best solution for all parties involved, of course, excluding any terrorist organizations. Since the creation of Gaza as an area exclusively for the Palestinians, there have been major security concerns for the Israeli government, and even more so for the Israelis living in the towns on the Israel-Gaza border. These concerns were horrifically realized on that Black Saturday of October 7th, when approximately 3,000 armed terrorists crossed the border into Israel to indiscriminately kill, torture, rape, and mutilate innocent men, women, and children. Now, more than 90 days later, with the ongoing war in Gaza, the question must be asked: what should be done to bring lasting peace for Israel, for the Gazan refugees, and for the entire region? Currently, the refugee crisis in Gaza is being exacerbated by Palestinian and European Union officials who, it would seem, believe that the only way to prevent Gaza from being fully controlled by Israel is by keeping Palestinian civilians in harm's way. A Haaretz headline from 6 days ago stated, quote, Palestinian Prime Minister to senior EU officials: aid Gaza to prevent mass migration. Now, the idea being presented here is the notion that we should keep Gazan civilians in Gaza in the areas of combat to prevent mass migration. Very strange, right? Israel has always been accused of keeping Gazans confined in an open-air prison with no option of leaving, and yet suddenly, when the Gazan civilians need it the most, and when Israel is suggesting that this would be the wisest course of action to prevent unnecessary casualties, Palestinian and European Union officials oppose the idea and instead want to keep civilians in the lines of fire. What are these officials afraid of? That the people of Gaza might find better opportunities and livelihoods outside of the Gaza Strip? Why is this considered a bad thing? At the end of World War II, many Germans who were not Nazis were displaced from their homes until the Marshall Plan was presented as an effective strategy to rebuild Europe. This lesson from history is how we should approach the current situation in Gaza. Palestinian civilians who have been displaced by the current conflict should be allowed to find a place of refuge until a proper plan for lasting peace can be decided upon. We'll be right back with the rest of the show, but first, 304,901. That's how many words there are in the Bible. Now that's a lot of words, but what if we told you that all it takes to understand the core of the Bible is 75 words? Yes, you heard that right, 75 words. Embark on a transformative journey with 75 Hebrew words you need to understand the Bible. Discover the profound wisdom of the scriptures like never before. This beautifully crafted coffee table-sized book reveals the essence of the Hebrew Bible, unraveling the hidden meanings of 75 pivotal Hebrew words. With each page and each word you learn, you'll get to carry the word with you daily, connecting you to the Bible and deepening your faith every step of the way. Each word comes with a deep dive essay, connections to related terms, and secrets accessible only through the original language. Experience the scriptures in their purest form with translated verses in full biblical context. Perfect for gifting, discussion, and personal reflection, this book is not just a read. It's an experience that will transform your Bible study. Don't miss this chance to enrich your spiritual path. Secure your copy today and deepen your connection to the divine. Visit the link below to bring home 75 Hebrew words, your key to unlocking biblical understanding. It is an injustice to keep Gazan civilians inside of Gaza against their will. It is recorded that as of December 2023, there are more than 6.3 million refugees from Ukraine recorded in Europe. Why is it suddenly a problem for the 2 million plus Palestinians of Gaza to find refuge away from the current conflict while Israel deals with rooting out the terrorist cancer in Gaza called Hamas? Gazans should be allowed to pursue a life outside of the confines of Gaza and outside of the confines of the ongoing conflict. The Palestinian Authority and Hamas want to continue to use the civilian population as human shields by preventing them from leaving the Gaza Strip. This is inhumane. This is where we must expose the agenda of Hamas, the PA, and the EU, who want to continue the Gaza refugee crisis. Our goal should be to find lasting solutions for peace in the Middle East. The plan of Hamas and the EU to keep innocent civilians in harm's way and then blame Israel is unethical, inhumane, and in fact, a war crime. All of that being said, the question remains, what are the options that could and should be available for fleeing Gazans? Here are some ideas that have been proposed so far. As was recorded in Arab News in 2017, quote, Saudi Arabia is one of the largest labor markets in the world with 11 million foreign workers from more than 100 countries represented in many sectors and fields of work. Why not offer Gazans the option of becoming foreign workers in an Arabic-speaking country like Saudi Arabia? Here's another option. The Times of Israel recently reported, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's coalition is conducting secret contacts for accepting thousands of immigrants from Gaza with Congo in addition to other nations. Why not allow Gazans the option to voluntarily immigrate to the Democratic Republic of the Congo and or other African countries? PBS News notes that, quote, people in the Gaza Strip who have Canadian relatives may apply for temporary visas to Canada, the country's immigration minister said. Here are some options for Gazans who have relatives in Canada. Why is this idea not being promoted more? The European Union, for all of their talk, has not opened up to allow Gazan refugees into any of their countries. As was noted by Euronews, Joseph Borrell Fontelles, who is the European Union's representative for foreign affairs, stated on X, quote, forced displacements are strictly prohibited as a grave violation of international humanitarian law. However, Israel is not looking to forcibly displace anyone. The current question is not regarding forced displacement, but rather where to allow Palestinians to go while the current conflict rages on. Why will the EU not open its doors to allow Gazan refugees to find shelter while Israel deals with the terrorist organization Hamas? These are just a few of the many options that should be open to allow the innocents of Gaza a haven away from the current conflict. Israel must destroy Hamas, an oppressive, barbaric, and disgusting group that terrorizes not only Israelis, but also their fellow Gazans. This, in turn, will allow for new opportunities for coexistence and partnership between Israel and Palestinians who desire peace over another terror state. As we look at the current situation, there is no best solution, but these are the better alternatives compared to keeping innocent Palestinian civilians in harm's way. The people of Gaza should not be pawns in the hands of Hamas or the PA. Meanwhile, people like this are a huge part of the problem.
I dare you to look into the eyes of a Gazan child and tell him that you tried your best. Our day will come, but we must not be complacent. Our day will come, but we must normalize massacres as the status quo. Thank you.
That was crazy, right? This guy at a Palestinian protest rallying for the Palestinian cause. He's calling to make massacres the new status quo. Where has this world gone? How insane is the world becoming? Guys, how about instead of the world calling for a ceasefire or for more massacres of the Jewish people, we make calling for Hamas to surrender the new norm? It has been over 100 days since the horrific massacre of October 7th, and still there are hostages in Gaza being held by Hamas. When will the world wake up? Guys, don't forget to pick up your copy of 75 Hebrew Words. You can click on the link in the description below. Guys, comment below. Let us know what you think. Make sure to subscribe here on YouTube. And as always, tune out the fake news and tune into what is actually happening here in the land of Israel. We'll be back every day, Monday through Friday, with your direct connection to the land and people of Israel.